everyone, this is Jenilee with my Real Men segment, and we are in 13. It is coming down to the wire for a lot of you. This might be the last week that you need a win to make it into the playoffs. Some of you have 2 more weeks, but it is still coming down to that time that you are going to have to win your matchups in order to get in the playoffs. So let's get right into it. As you can see, Greg and I are doing a little bit different show because he was out of town this week. I have some footage later in the show with a special guest that I had with me at Tin Horn. Tin Horn's been very, very dead because the Bears have been doing so bad this season, but we are giving you guys a different show this week. So let's get right into it. My first pick this week is wide receiver Keenan Allen of the Chargers, and he is a 2.5 on the ball scale. Now, the reason he's a 2.5 on the ball scale is because he has been inconsistent. A lot of you took him pretty early in your drafts. I know I did, and he has been a big disappointment this season because he hasn't done what he did last season. He's been having that sophomore slump, unfortunately. He only has 2 touchdowns on the season this far. But I am picking him in my picks for this week because 3 out of the last 4 weeks, he has given you a lot better numbers. It does seem like Phillip Rivers is looking his way more often. In week 8, he went 9 for 73 yards and a touchdown. In week 9, he slumped. He only had 4 for 47 yards. Then in week 10, they were on their bye. But week 11, he went 8 for 63 yards, and week 12, he went 6 for 104 yards and a touchdown. So if you're in a PPR league, he's definitely being targeted more, and it looks like he's catching a lot more balls. You're getting more points from him now than you were earlier in the season, which is great. Now, they play the Ravens defense, and the Ravens defense is very tough against the run. They're 5th against the run, but they are only 29th versus the pass. Drew Brees just threw for over 400 yards on this Ravens secondary in Monday Night Football. So even though they're stopping the run, and I think the Chargers are going to have a hard time running the ball, the pass has been pretty wide open, and I think Phillip Rivers is going to be able to get it down the field. And this is an important game for both sides. Both teams are 7-4. They are both in very tough divisions. And so this is an important one for the Chargers to win on the road. Also important for the Ravens to try to get a home win. But I think this one should be a good game, should be close, maybe a shootout. But get Keenan Allen in your lineup this week. Now, my second pick is running back Le'Veon Bell. And he is a 1 on the ball scale because he has had a magnificent season this far, especially if you are in PPR leagues. He has been getting it done for you. He's been absolutely phenomenal. He has 951 rushing yards on the season this far with 2 rushing touchdowns, and he's added another 484 receiving yards with 2 receiving touchdowns. So again, if you are in a PPR league, he's absolutely been getting it done for you. Now, they dropped LeGarrette Blount, obviously, last week. Blount was no longer with them. He was back on the Patriots. So that means Bell is going to be getting even more touches than he was, and he was already getting a lot of touches to begin with. I think in this game he could be on the field for about 30 touches possibly. They're going to have to use him. He's going to be the guy over there. He pretty much has been all season anyways. And they're playing the Saints. The Saints are giving up an average of 109 rushing yards and 47 receiving yards to running backs each game. Obviously, they use Bell in the receiving game as well as running him out of the backfield. So this is a game that, again, he's going to get those touches. He's going to get you a lot of points, and he's going against the Saints defense that's not very good against the run. And the Steelers are coming off of their bye week, which I always like playing players coming off their bye week because they're a little bit more rested. At this point in the NFL season, all the players are a little sore, have these nicks and bruises going on, but hopefully he will be absolutely 100%, a little bit more rested coming off of this bye week, and he should continue to get you those points that he has been all season long thus far. So absolutely be sure to play him. And my third one this week is actually a don't start for you. Do not start quarterback Jay Cutler. Now, I know in deeper leagues, he was picked up. He was getting very good fantasy points for all of you towards the beginning of the season. He's been slumping a little bit. He had a good game against the Vikings. And I know some of you are thinking, well, you know, I might just have to play him, but this is not the week you want to play him because of his matchup. The offense has been struggling. Chicago's offense is only averaging 21.5 points per game. Last year, they averaged 28 points per game, so they have not gotten back up to that mark yet. Against the Vikings 2 weeks ago, they looked pretty good. They were moving the ball. Everyone had really good numbers on offense. But against Tampa Bay last week, they did not look good at all. They really, really struggled. Our defense carried us in that game. And they just went on the field and they just didn't look like they had any energy. It was so disappointing to see this offense with all these weapons not have energy and not go out there and be putting points up on the board. The defense had energy, but this offense did not. He has already thrown 12 interceptions and he has 6 lost fumbles. That is a total of 18 turnovers this season. That's another reason why the Bears offense isn't doing very good is Cutler keeps turning over the ball. So that obviously hurts you in fantasy. I think he's going to throw at least 1 interception and probably fumble it at least 1 time in this game, which of course takes points away from you in fantasy. He has the most turnovers out of any quarterback in the league this season. It has just not been good for Cutler and his turnovers. And they're playing Detroit. This is why. This matchup is absolutely tough for them. Detroit is 3rd overall in defense. They have a very tough front. They are 1st against the run, so Matt Forte is going to have a hard time getting going, I think. And they already have 26 sacks on the season. Keep in mind, Chicago's offensive line has been rotating because of injuries, so they haven't been quite as good as last year. And I think Detroit is going to get back there, cause havoc. I think he's going to be under a lot of pressure. They're going to get some sacks on him, some knockdowns. I just think it's going to be an ugly, ugly day for Chicago's offense and probably for Chicago as a whole. And, of course, they're playing Thanksgiving Day, so they're playing on a short week, and they're playing in Detroit. None of that makes this an easy matchup for Cutler. He is not going to get you a lot of fantasy points this week, so do not start him, especially if you need to win to get into your playoffs. So now we're going to move it on because Greg has his Beast Mode picks, of course, like always, from Vegas this time. So let's take it to Greg.